Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to a very special extra interview of Final Cut. Today, I'm joined by an actress who has done film and TV, but you can now catch her in the second season of the Netflix TV series You. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ambyr Childers.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I like that.
Yeah, well, you've got to set yourself out from the crowd, haven't you?
Yep.
So obviously, inevitably, how are you?
I'm good. I'm, taking life day by day, which is nice. It forces you to live in the present just a little bit more.
Definitely. So how did you get started out in acting?
So when I was younger, I always loved movies. I loved the way they made me feel. I love the idea that you can completely just, escape from whatever, stress you had going on in your life, and immerse yourself into characters, on the screen. And I always thought, God, that would be such a neat job. I love this. I love the idea of storytelling and like being able to relate to people through these characters. And so that kind of gave me the acting bug a little bit. And, I asked my parents to take me up to LA, which was like an hour and a half away, to figure out how to get into, Hollywood. And somehow my parents just made it, they made it happen. And I was at the right place at the right time, in front of the right people. And I started doing commercials. So I did commercials for many years before I actually got into television.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so obviously everyone has a few influences when they grow up that they like. So who were your influences growing up?
I love Julia Roberts.
Oh, who doesn't?
Wait, sorry, say that again?
Who doesn't love Julia Roberts?
She's amazing. I loved everything about her. I loved, Erin Brockovich and Pretty Woman. And I don't know. I've always been in awe of, she's so captivating on camera. And then, Anne Hathaway is another, actress that I love. So these women, just those, not just those two, but off the top of my head, those two, they had a big impact on, my desire to tell stories and to really step into the shoes of being an artist fully.
Yeah. Can I just say one thing before we carry on? Anne Hathaway, best Catwoman ever.
The best.
Definitely. So let's talk about your career for a second, if I may. You portrayed Susan Atkins in the NBC crime drama Aquarius. What was that like starring? And for anyone familiar with it, which is probably all of England, can you just describe it and the brief description of who you played?
Yes. So Susan Atkins. So Aquarius was about the Charlie Manson stories and the wild characters that were on his compound and the people that he got involved with and during that era in the 60s. And Susan Atkins was one of his followers. Mm-hmm. She was from Northern California, and she ultimately committed the crime with Tex Watkins of multiple murders. And she was just one of his followers who ended up going to jail. Mm-hmm.
So I'd say that's not the only thing you've done. You've also been in Ray Donovan for 9 episodes. What's it like working with someone like Liv Schreiber?
Oh, Liv, he's so funny. He's such a great actor. I feel really lucky to have worked with so many amazing actors, and I've learned so much from, Liev and John Voight. It's such a wonderful cast. So the 3 seasons that I was on that show, I feel so fortunate to have worked with them and be in the presence of such great actors. And I just, I feel, again, I'll say it again, I just feel really fortunate to have been able to work in this lifetime with, such great artists that inspire me.
Yeah, I always, as a movie fan, critic, and reviewer, I always enjoy watching certain movies over and over again just to be like, yes, they've made a good one here, and I actually can be happy now that I've watched it. I still love Gladiator 20 years after it was actually made, if that's a bit weird.
No, oh my gosh, you know what? We are like the same person.
You
Gladiator is one of my favorite movies.
Gladiator was what actually made me a Hans Zimmer fan, believe it or not.
Really? Oh, wow.
So one of the people on my bucket list to interview is actually Hans Zimmer. So we can all have dreams. We've just got to do our best to make sure that they can happen.
Yeah, no, oh gosh. You know what? Now I want to watch Gladiator. I feel like Gladiator, Man on Fire with Denzel Washington. God, there's just so many great. It's like when someone asks me, or just anyone, what's your favorite movie? It's like, that is such an unfair question.
Yeah,
like,
because there's so many.
It's like you love every movie for a different reason, but you have your go-to movies that you can constantly watch over and over again, and definitely like Man on Fire, Gladiator, and then if you want to go to like the more romantic, The Notebook, which is like, I know, such a classic for women and people, but I love the idea that Nick Cassavetes, who directed that movie, it's just great. Those are just classic movies, and I can't wait to be able to watch them with my kids. My kids are too little now, but even like Forrest Gump, my older one asked me, she's, can I watch Forrest Gump? I'm like, I don't think so, not yet.
Not yet.
Titanic, not yet.
No.
But there's definitely, I can't wait for that day, because those are the movies that, I've watched every single Disney movie from here to the moon, so I can't wait to have that opportunity with my kids. I should just point out, I have not really told that many people this, but my mother actually traumatized me enough to never want to watch Titanic ever again. Oh, no!
Yeah. This was when it would literally come out on VHS, so we're talking even before Gladiator was released. This is how long it is. She basically used to watch it on a Sunday morning. She tried to watch it on a Sunday morning. She'd fail. And then I would come down. This was when I was like 15, 16. It would be the same part every single Sunday. And you were just like, when will the torture not end?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I get it. It's definitely,
Yeah. So let's talk about your Netflix series that you guest starred in, but now you are, for season 2, which was released last year, I believe it was. You are actually a season regular, so for that, congratulations. So, with that being said, can you let us know who you play and what is the series actually about, for those who are curious but have really never got round to it, because Netflix is just full of so much content that it just kind of gets pushed away a lot.
Yeah, so I think I first have to say, if you haven't seen you should definitely put that on your list to watch. And I know that we all have, we're spending a lot of time at home lately, so it's definitely, the first season is so fantastic. I played Candace Stone, who is Penn Badgley, who plays Joe on the show, who's the lead. And you guys might know Penn Badgley from Gossip Girl. So Candace Stone is Joe's ex-girlfriend. In the first season, she's considered like the crazy ex-girlfriend, but then through the second season, and I don't want to give it away for the viewers who haven't seen it, you actually, it dives much deeper into her storyline and her past with Joe, and really, ultimately come to find out that she's trying to stop Joe from ultimately, continuing to murder these women.
All right, so if you were going to sum it up in, say, 5 words, what would you describe it as? So you could say it's like, it's a horror turned thriller turned drama turned suspense, if you like. Or have I just literally summed it up for you?
Thriller, gosh. Okay, hold on a second. A thriller turned drama turned the best TV show on Netflix. It's really good. It's a really good psychological thriller. That's really what it is at the end of the day.
Right, so if psychological thrillers are your thing, you know just the TV series to watch. Now, obviously, there's 2 seasons. Will there be a third that you know of?
I believe there is a third underway. I don't know if my character will be a part of the 3rd season, but there definitely will be a third season. I know that the pandemic has kind of thrown
everything,
the schedule off a little bit, but I suspect that, with just the success of the show, that I believe it's been renewed.
Kind of glad it has, because Netflix cancels a lot of TV series too soon. I mean, there's the amount of TV series it's cancelled after 1 season is as long as, well, it's even longer than my 5'11" arm. Yeah, because it is quite long. Right, so obviously you decided to be... Did you actually decide to be in You, or was it a case of your agent went, you should try out for this and see if you get it, because it looks quite good?
So, how, the casting for You came about for me was I have known Sarah Gamble, who is the creator of You. And she also is the creator of, co-creator of the NBC show Aquarius that I was on. So it was something that I knew it was going to be good and juicy and raw and meaty, and something that I would love to sink my teeth into. So I went in and I saw, and I read for Sarah Schachter, who's part of Greg Berlanti's, she's Greg Berlanti's right-hand girl. And Sarah and David Rappaport, who's the casting director here in LA, he cast pretty much every CW Marvel show under the sun. And so these people I've known my entire career, and I it's nice just to be able to see them. So whether I was right, but when I walked in, I remember Sarah saying, she's like, this is something that I want you to play. And so it was great. It's always great to feel wanted in Hollywood, because they have so many choices, right? There's a bunch of girls that are blonde hair, blue eyes. I know I have red hair in the series, but just being able to have an opportunity to work again in the business is something that I never take for granted, because you never know.
Yeah, you never know when your next TV series or movies might be your last. It's quite funny you mentioned Greg Berlanti, actually, because like you said, he is actually the CW's anchor. Would you actually like to be cast in a CW show? Doesn't matter what it is, whether it be like... it can't be Supergirl, because that's the last season. Whether it be like The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, or something else for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be super fun. I think it would be great. I think it'd be fun for my kids to be able to see Mommy. A lot of the things that I've done thus far, my kids haven't been able to watch. But it's definitely, I think playing a superhero would be like so amazing. And it would be fun and light and not so heavy. And just being a part of the Berlanti family is something that I would truly be grateful for. So yeah, definitely.
You could make them T-shirts at Christmas saying, "My mummy is a superhero."
Yeah.
Right. Just quickly, you've got your own jewellery range out called Ambyr Childers Jewellery. So how did that come about exactly?
So I started the brand in between, I believe it was in between seasons of Ray Donovan. And it was something that I have parents that were entrepreneurs, and it was growing up and seeing them have a business. And, as an actor, you have a lot of downtime in between projects. And I wanted to find something that, kept my artistic juices flowing, I would say. And I love the idea of wearing beautiful pieces that have deep meanings, or meaningful pieces that can be cherished and that tell stories. And so, it came about that my great grandmother always, told me about some really amazing stories between her and the Native Americans, exchanging jewelry, and I just was always fascinated. I'm a little bit of an old soul like that. And so I thought, God, this would be such a fun, such a fun thing to do. And so I started with the jewelry, and it's just something that I love doing, and I have so much fun in seeing people wear art that I create. I get a lot of fulfillment out of that. So.
Okay, so if anyone listening wants to have a look at it and see, and if in case they see it and they do want to buy it, what website would they go to?
Yeah, so you could check out the jewelry, the brand, at ambyrchilders.com. It's AMBYR. That's how you spell my name, and childers.com. Or you could find me on Instagram, which there's links through the Instagram bio to the website.
What could be easier?
Yeah.
Right, so we're just going to finish off with a little... it's kind of, I do this with all my interviews just to get different perspectives from the actors, the actresses, the singers, the dancers who I encounter. So what advice would you give someone who feels they are going nowhere with their entertainment career and they're thinking of giving it up? What advice would you give them?
Well, I think for me, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned recently is you can't wait around for anyone to give you a job, to give you an opportunity. You have to go out and you have to find those opportunities. It's, you can't completely leave it to your agent and manager or, a friend that says they're going to help you out. You have to do it yourself. And I think that's when you start seeing results is, you don't sit around and wait for the phone to ring. You have to go make stuff happen. And, I think that's something that took me a long time to learn in my career, but now I'm, turning the page, and I know that if there's a will, there's a way, and that way is left on my shoulders, and I need to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Outside of acting, what are your interests and passions?
I think shining a light on children with learning differences. I had my oldest daughter. She has multiple learning differences,
yeah.
And the list is so long, from ADHD to autism to auditory processing, and I think I'm getting to a point where I am at the point where I really want people and parents and mothers and children to be okay with the conversations around learning differences. And so I'm taking the opportunity to have a few things coming down the pipeline where I'm able to really have these conversations and shine the light on something that is something really dear to my heart. Okay. I have 5 kids total. 3 are my stepchildren. And so I think that, with having children, whether it's just 2 or 5 or however many you have, that your kids are all so different. And so really, embracing that is something that's become a passion of mine, and educating myself and having, conversations with other parents is something that I want to make it an easier, more comfortable situation to discuss these things.
Mm-hmm. Career highlights at this point?
Working on The Master, which is a Paul Thomas Anderson film I did with Philip Seymour Hoffman, Amy Adams, Joaquin Phoenix, Rami Malek. I have so many that was just like a pinch myself kind of moment.
Yeah. Have you got any projects coming up in the next couple of months to a year? Obviously, quarantine depending.
Yeah, I think there's a few things that were happening pre-pandemic, but with everything on hold, or a lot of things it's just gearing back up. There's a couple of opportunities that I may have, which I'm really excited about, and I'm sure I'll be able to announce it on Instagram at some point.
Yeah. What would you like the future to hold for you, whether it be both personal or professional or both?
Peace.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, peace, balance. I think as a woman, having children and running a business I love doing everything. I'm the kind of person I can't just sit around and do nothing. But for me, it's still finding that balance and turning my phone off, you know,
Yeah.
at a certain time. And so I think that is something that I definitely need to explore and, you know, nail down a little
Yeah.
bit.
And I know you've already mentioned it once, but I shall do it for those who didn't hear it. If people want to find you on social media, how would they go about it?
So I have 2 accounts. I have my brand account, which is just Ambyr Childers, and my personal account is Ambyr Childers _official.
I take it you're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram everywhere?
I only, right now I just do Facebook and Instagram. There's not enough hours in the day to do everything else.
Probably a wise call. And on that, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Ambyr Childers.